StarScourge Radahn, King of the Battlefield's Lion, the great famed renowned red mane general of Caelid, and one of the most tragic characters of Elden Ring, cursed to ever to wander by his half-little sister, Melania, Blade of Mikola, the Queen of Halictree, and at the same time Goddess of Rot later on. From the Rot, he was deprecated to have stage 69 brain cancer, and is one of my favorite characters in all of Elden Ring, to arguably my favorite, and at the same time being one of my favorite characters in gaming. But besides all that talk, he's a character I've talked about on this channel before, and a character tied to an idea and now string to this individual fight that you see on the title and at the same time on the screen beforehand with the thumbnail. But I want to go ahead and give y'all a little bit of a talk. Stick with me now. I had an idea randomly, kind of with my friend who will not be named, of a random form, possibly free-for-all, which I could possibly do the actual free-for-all I mentioned, or any free-for-all. I never did the idea before. It would be a very long video, to say the least, depending on the characters are. But if you would like me to pull that type of thing, let me know in the comments down below. But simply put, the idea involved Godfrey, StarScourge Radahn, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, I think, mixed with Superman and Shazam. This would be taking the Prime characters, same time canon, and same time as well live action. With that being said, that would mean in this case, basically Prime StarScourge Radahn, any sense of Prime Godfrey, with canon Darth Vader, canon Darth Maul, versus Superman and Shazam of live action, and in specific to the Dceu, which is, I think, the only one where there's a live action Shazam, aka Captain Marvel, correct me if I'm wrong, and at the same time, is the more popular and more recent, version of Superman, besides obviously coming with the Superman movie in July, right? As I'm very excited for that movie, and for y'all who don't know, I'm a big Superman fan. Superman is my favorite character of DC Comics, and one of my favorite characters in fiction, a top tier GOAT to say the least. But in this video, I'm over here going to break down why, obviously on the title, why StarScourge Radahn versus Superman of the DCU, aka Henry Cavill version, is not close. But the reason why I'm making this video is not just because obviously I'm wanting to make a creative and unique case of video, but the fact is that when I said I believe that StarScourge Radahn can kill Superman of the DCU, one of my friends who might be watching this video thought it was wrong, aka didn't believe it. And I'm here to go and explain, as in the title of this video, why that is not the case. I hope you guys will enjoy. This is probably a more shorter one. Let's go and get it on. Godsking, aka StarScourge Radahn, a character I've talked about before on this channel that I can easily surmise. StarScourge Radahn is one of the most powerful demigods of the Shattered to the most powerful. We're going to be using him in his prime, aka basically a hypothetical version of what he looked like, with in the sense of Consort Radahn, but not that version, as he's amped by Mikola and is arguably the most powerful demigod, ridiculously beyond compare with that version. The thing is, with the case of the powerhouse version that makes, Radahn much more powerful than any other seen before, is the fact that in this hypothetical younger, fullest of possible power stand, he was the most powerful, unbelievably beyond the comprehension of most in comparison, and stood as pretty much the guy you're going to not to worry about in the lands between. With that being said, we're not going to be using this 35 to 40 foot version like in the case of obviously the gameplay. That's just obviously gameplay, so don't use that as reference. But besides all that, when it comes down to who Radahn is, he's the son of Rennala, queen and same time most powerful sorceress of the Carrion Royals, queen of the full moon, is one of, not the most powerful form of sorceress like Shawty within the entire lands between, or even sorcery in general, and is the son of Radahn of the Golden Order, which gives him his godlike stance, aka gives him his demigod status. This as well gives the big harboring of the power play, his red fame hair, tie also with his possible ancestry / distinctful, family relationship with the fire giants, because that's where hypothetically Radagon's mortal half comes from, as Radahn is the husband of Queen Marika later on, and with this being said is the other half of her, formed together most likely by the Golden Order, giving him the grace of not just being mortal on one hand, because obviously he's the father of Melania, father of Mesmir, father of Mikola, but as well gives the god status stand to not just those children, but as well the children with Rennala. He's the father of Radahn, Praetor Rykard, Ranni, and others, as I already said. But in this case, the oldest of them, who is not stated, especially because time and chronological state of the verse is not very concretely said in this and this and this, but obviously you can tell who is older than who, depending on the case. This would make Radahn, hypothetically, if you use the timeline in the most defined, structured way and mixed tale of how things are shown in the case of the lore, then make Radahn the oldest of the children. Radahn, it would on him scale, his little sister, Ranni, who is one beneath the case of his mother, who he has reasonable scaling to say is stronger than her, and someone like Ranni has sorcery and magical skill that puts her as one of the most highest regarded case of people when it comes down to magic. It's because in the case of the second phase of Rennala, she's able to make a universal pocket dimension and basically reconfigure the case of the world in the image that she wants it, presenting the moon, stars, and a hypothetical greater emphasis of the universe, making an entire freaking world just off the flick of the wrist, and being able to contain it and control it, and making the prime version of her mother come back into existence, who was said to be able to stalemate Radahn in his prime, aka younger age, aka his hypothetical mortal self. With that being said, gives the credit of her and same time Ranni being universal at a reasonable end, and same time being ridiculously powerful on multiple scales, which then puts someone like Radahn higher because of the accolades I'm going to get into, with him having great teachings and magic running through his veins from the case of not just his mother but also his father. He would be training these arts and revel in them, as he talked about when he got trained in Caelid back in its prime, talking about great tutelage from his master, allowing him to learn gravity magic. So with his great size given to him by the case of his father, tied also with the fact of his heritage to the fire giants, maybe to not crush his steed Leonard, which we're going to be giving him in this fight, we'll be having him be able to not just control his weight and stance and footing, but also allow him to control gravity bolts, control gravity on a multi-case scale, allowing him to pull a lot of different great Sith Lord and or wizard-like capabilities. This also, therefore, gave him the capability to try to use them to go ahead and control more of his greater standard powers. As Radahn has super strength, super speed, can fly, arguable capabilities of, invisible intangibility of electricity, electrokinesis, gravity magic allows him to basically pull these different aspects of things, have the capability to basically be unseeable in different parts of, his magic or blitz and things like that. He's able to fly into space and not worry about breathing. He conquered the stars, famously by his name, the StarScourge. And because of this, would be putting him at low end, dwarf star, multi-level stuff. But he was able to contain, hold back, and utilize the stars, hypothetically, if he wanted to. And these stars can go from billions to trillions of times faster than light, and as well hold pretty much the exact portion of need of this type of magnitude to be encapsulated into a solar system, which would then give Radahn at his lowest end consistently multi-solar system bare minimum scaling, as these type of stars would be going multiple times upon these type of scale, as upon these different things. This would be putting him as one of the most pillar of might foes of the lands between because of the control of these stars. But really what puts him aside, other people is not just because of the fact of his hacks and other shit, but his skill, as he is the famed Red Lion, a very skilled and ferocious warrior said by Sir Gideon, who was hypothetically one, if not the most knowledgeable person in the lands between. He was held as the most powerful and mightiest demigod for multiple reasons. With that being said, cracked of also this the pure fact because of the fact that this man came out of nowhere to Caelid, became a general to them, and became the most starlight person of the lands between. He is able to go ahead and stalemate and stand to Morgoth in the past and survive an encounter with him. He was able to stand decently to Melania, as it said that they locked horns in combat and were the greatest two of the Shatterin. He's also have a bunch of upscaling from multiple other demigods of similar credit. This would also then give him reasonable scaling of, not just pit for pit to people of these similar regard, but have him be one of the most skilled expertise people with his 2 great StarScourge blades that act in a way like Twandi blades, similar to the case of like a Mongolian commander, but also Stitch of also having a feel of being 2 blades of very dynamic, swift movement, especially with how he uses them in touch with his gravity magic. There's also the record that he's able to go ahead and turn them into like stone, gravity, Mongol-like S blades as well. This also gives him a record of the fact that, you know, he's able to use a gravity form, multi-form arrow precision to his advantage if he wanted to, as he's able to line up different gravity upon his stuff, pluck out arrows faster than a normal person. And, you know, if you want to say he possibly could have, you know, spare spears in his back or whatever, he could use that to his disposal and basically make a whole floodgate of arrows come at a person. He obviously, like I told about with scaling to the stars, would be massively faster than light, reasonably, and is like beyond the comprehension of most people, right? But with his younger stage and things that he has done, what is being said, and how he scaled to people in greater form future, this would again make him be reasonably a great skilled, very great speedy person, and scaling these other people and scaling over will give him reasonable crown credit of being the most powerful demigod at baseline, and only his half-little sister Melania when she's in Gods of Ra, and himself corrupted mentally and same time revamped and amped by Mikola to be lower than, which will put him at very high end scale, with that being said, and definitely makes him a reasonable contender to scale to his inspiration for his armor, the great Godfrey, first Elden Lord, and the greatest warrior arguably of the lands between, mixed bag as well, being the strongest Tarnished to ever live besides our iconic Tarnished, with this being said. But because of him also standing to Melania, who has unmatched skill, and he was able to dish a decent amount of capabilities, even though, to be fair, there's a statement saying that Melania was tired in her fight in the Shattering. That could also be said for both of them. The fact is that he was able to do that when he's older. Imagine what he could do to her when he's younger, pretty much. But that's it for StarScourge Radahn. Time to go and talk about the Man of Steel of the DCU. Kal-El, aka Clark Kent, the last son of Krypton, the last naturally born son of Krypton, son of Jor-El and a woman on Krypton. He was sent to Earth as the last of his kind to rep the legacy of Krypton, to rep the symbol of hope, being the House of El, and naturally was blessed with the capabilities that the case of his race could not be blessed with, as Krypton's sun and their planet was dying for years, which was a big thing to go ahead and give the eventual case of destruction of their home and eventual demise of their people. With that being said, Kal-El, because of the fact that he went to a sun with a younger, beautiful son, he was able to go ahead and get the nutrients of godlike capabilities from it. And at the same time, was also gain the capability to fly, have great capabilities like no other because of Earth's distinctfulness from Krypton. As the rest of his race came back after seeing the destruction of their home, tied with not having the technology and capabilities to evolve and pull different capabilities within the case of, you know, expansion and exploration, he, Kal-El, aka Superman, would now become the symbol of hope for mankind. And not the best of movies, in my opinion, but we're not going to get into that. Superman, though, because of the fact of him being said to be the strongest hero on Earth by multiple different accolades of people, to be stronger than Steppenwolf in both versions of the continuity of the DCU, being able to be arguably a person to scale dang near to Darkseid, even without the power of anti-life, and being said by The Rock, who was a producer of Black Adam, unironically, because you know he never loses, is said to be the strongest man in the universe, the strongest hero of Earth, and stronger than Black Adam, because of Black Adam's capabilities with magic and the fact that Superman in this version does have a slight weakness or a sense vulnerable to magic, like arguably in the comics more vulnerability, would, you know, still be stronger than him even, right? This would be making someone like Superman, who's able to go ahead and scale to the mother boxes, terraforming the planet. This was said to be able to, shift the platonic plate, be able to change the matter for, the battle cycle of Earth when it comes down to, different clashes with, monstrosities, different record of, unfortunate peril, and is the main core reason for why the Justice League was able to win in the first place. Gave the capability for, this man to be scaling from low end multi-continental to reasonably a planetary like man, as with this man Superman being able to scale, even though weakened by kryptonite, to Doomsday, and another version of Doomsday, the real Doomsday, who scaled to Steppenwolf, and their clash was said to destroy the moon of Krypton. Will put him in a pretty strong scale of that within the continental to moon level scaling right there. And obviously he diffs Steppenwolf, what is being said, and anyone saying that this isn't a fair representation of it, it's said by Zack Snyder, who is, the word of God, who pretty much said that their clash just verbatim destroyed the moon and pretty much dispersed all capabilities for, possible context, this and this. No, their fight just simply, as word of mouth clash, destroyed the moon. This also, again, is shown with the capability of him diffing him, scaling to a Doomsday, and being able to fight him decently, even though being weakened by kryptonite. He also, again, being resurrected, is said to be the strongest hero on Earth, basically having the Zenkai boost, being able to scale over the mother boxes, which didn't put him on a planet level case of scale. And simply put, Superman is said to be better than most other people, and someone like Black Adam has showcasings and hypothetical potential to be able to destroy the planet, be able to destroy the world itself, over time, or just inevitably, said by The Rock, said by Dr. Fate, who's one of the most knowledgeable people in the DCU, and tied with the fact that, a comic book showcasing that he does have this power, taking, the godlike capabilities of the gods that he has. This also goes with him being able to scale over Shazam, who has the same similar capabilities, and having the power of the gods, which we could see about scaling of, and this and this and this, would make him reasonably the most powerful man in the entire case of the universe itself. So yeah, pretty much it for his AP. When it comes down to speed, though, Superman easily would be massively faster than light, as he need to be pushing some speeds of light when it came down to, obviously him being able to get away from the gravitational pull of the terraformer of Earth, which is pretty much a black hole level explosion that is able to basically graft away everything in the entire area. And he was able to push through the speed suckle of it, which again, because it's basically a black hole terraforming the Earth at a point of hyper scale thing, even though obviously it's more akin to a gravitational, vortex, right? This would mean he has to be able to be pushing multiple times faster than the speed of light to get out of it, which would be putting him at the lowest and the highest sense of relativistic, aka basically pushing dang near 100% speed of light, or massively faster than light at a greater deal, but also being able to boom blitz into it and pretty much, polger through it, would then give him reasonable accolade of being way faster than the speed of light, as Superman is prone to do. Him scaling above multiple other characters who have scaling to lightning, this and this and this and this, would again put him a little bit more consistently in that, even if you want to talk about that being more of a hypersonic to massively hypersonic stage. And then same time, you also have him being able to perceive the Flash, which before anybody says it, that would not make him infinite / inaccessible in speed, as Barry is said multiple times by Zack Snyder, shown verbatim to be way more faster than Clark, and Clark could never hit him and only kind of brushed him off with just hyper speed boosting into it. He never actually formally hit him, and it's shown verbatim with the case of him, being still part of the Justice League, and hypothetical that he did beat Superman in the race. It's shown in his movie, even if Ezra Miller is a bitch, that he can rewind time. He rewinded time in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's just multiple times way more faster than him. So no, consistently and reasonably, Superman is infinite, times faster than light, but not infinite in actual speed. He's not, touching time in a loop. He's now over here faster than time itself, you know what I'm saying? Or time doesn't have any hold on him, nothing like that. Nothing akin to that, with that being said. So, no. Superman, again, is just multiple times massively faster than light. But when it comes to his capabilities, that Superman is prone to do, he has heat vision, he can fly, super speed, wind breath, cold breath, has x-ray vision, has super senses, and vulnerability, is very durable from multiple accounts of capabilities and scale. And yeah, simply put is that, he is definitely somebody to not be trifled with in any sense of the way. And yeah, that's pretty much Superman from the DCU as we know. But isn't obvious with this being said, no matter how you see it, StarScourge Radahn is way more powerful, way more of an opposition to any possible case of capability for this man, Superman, to have, and he simply put is just beyond the comprehension of him, as again, StarScourge Radahn has multiple forms of scaling, showing that he is leagues above him in AP. He has the similar speed sense, but arguably you could say he could pull more dozens array of speed, as he has, you know, obviously connections to stars and capabilities along those lines. But simply put, StarScourge Radahn can one-tap Superman in any sense of the way, bar none. There's nothing that Superman has the capability to do against him, truly, except for possibly, I don't know, play rock, paper, scissors with his capabilities. But StarScourge Radahn has the skill, he has the hacks, he has the magic, he has the gravity manipulation. Again, there's no capabilities of him to actually, you know, possibly stand to him, as StarScourge Radahn has way more better, bar none, multi-array and versatility capabilities beyond the capabilities of, you know, Superman, no repetition, and he just can never put any true bar of actual work against them. The pressure is going to be too much, and StarScourge Radahn slaps. I believe that StarScourge Radahn is one of those characters you could say that could solo a lot of verses, as if, you know, in the form of live action, or it would be even bar none this, right? So, yeah. But if you would equal the stats, I guess you could say, even though, again, just taking consistently with both, StarScourge Radahn is beyond his comprehension. I still think that Superman would lose because of StarScourge Radahn's superior skill. The fact that anything that Superman could try to do to him, he always has a counter to. Heat vision, he has the better defense and array of gravity manipulation. He can pull things from the stars around him, possibly gravity manipulate Superman himself. He obviously has Leonard, who's a very fast horse. He has great accolades in comparison to other people who arguably could have more versatility or be bare none faster than him. And yet, just the fact that StarScourge Radahn is a guy with a great multi-array of, you know, experience on his table, and has a bunch of ways to pillar of might, dog walk Superman through the fight. I just believe they would beat him. The only possible way I could see Superman besting him is bare minimum if he tried to say he could try to spear him into the sun and mix perception of the sun's heat, possibly lowering the defense of StarScourge Radahn. But even then, I believe that StarScourge Radahn would just override that shit. He could possibly take the power of the sun and override this man Superman, and it, which arguably could feed him, because obviously Superman gets his powers from, you know, the sun, but controlled by his gravity manipulation, it could be more of a fucking multiple run of punching gloves back to back at his face, you know what I'm saying? Multiple boxing gloves, multiple haymakers, multiple slapping of that. It just would not work out for him. And no matter how you see it, I see someone like StarScourge Radahn being able just to cut down Superman down to size, regardless if he's basically like a fly in comparison to him. So yeah, simple as that. StarScourge Radahn wins. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out, mommy. Love y'all.